This slightly more complex website that renders differently on extra small devices and medium large devices. So we'll just kind of start by looking at both of them at a high level. So this is what it looks like on a medium or large device. And then this is what the site looks like as an extra small device. We do this with Bootstrap. And so we'll start just by going into kind of this larger render code because they're both very similar. They just use grids in a slightly different way. So pretty much we have this larger container and it's a fluid. And then we have a couple different rows. We have this what's happening row. We have this kind of subcategory row, section header, row with the big image, row with the 3 straight images, the featured header, the row with 3 larger images, and then a 3x3 grid in the first third of the row. And so again, we do this with Bootstrap. We'll kind of go into this. This one is pretty simple. It just uses a light blue coloring. Other than that, it's just a full column width. We do column 12 right there. Similar for this. This part was actually a little bit more complicated, especially between the extra small and large devices. But the logic is very similar. I'm going to open up all of these rows and we can kind of look at how these work. So for this first image, it's pretty straightforward. For a normal device, or an extra small device rather, we want it to take up the entire screen. Whereas for a medium or larger device, we want it to take up half the screen. So we use 6 for the larger device, and that's why it looks like it takes up half the screen here. When we jump back to the extra small device, we see that it does in fact take up all of the screen. Again, that's because we do call 12 here. Very similarly, we have the next rows. So maybe let's jump to that. Let me get there right here, right? Okay, so this row here, pretty much very similar. For larger devices, we want to do 3, 3, and 3. So we split it into fourths. 3, 3, 3, and then this would be the last 12, right? For larger devices, we can see, sorry, I lost my spot. This row here, column 6, so it looks like it should take up half of the screen. And we do see that that's the case. It takes up half the screen and we have one guy left over. Very similar here. We do the very same rendering for the small device, or the extra small device rather. And then we just have the grid within the grid. Here we just do 4 instead of 3. That's the main difference. And then here we do, for this row here, we do call 6. And so for a extra small device, it'll take up this half. And then we do medium 4. And so that makes it take up a third. And then pretty much we just do very similar to up here, but we just nest everything. And so we do call 4, call 4, call 4. And so we split everything into thirds, and then we just render all of that. Something that was kind of tricky, I guess I'll just show this as well for this last row. But again, it just takes up half the screen. It's the call 6. Something that was difficult for me was the header, mainly because this part needed to wrap around. What I originally did is I just had it be kind of like a long string of text, and then I separated it with some white space. That ended up not working because I couldn't get this to wrap around correctly. So what I ended up doing is I just treated it like a normal row. And then for larger devices, what I did was I just had each one take up 1/12, with the exception of submission deadlines, which took up 1/6, that would be. Just because it's a longer word and it wasn't supposed to wrap, and so that let it just have more space allocated. The other two is just 1. On smaller devices, however, I'll open it up here. We do, let me find it, column 3. And so we split it into fourths, and that makes sense, right? Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we want this guy to wrap. That was probably one of the hardest parts for me. Another part was just kind of getting these to actually render the way that I wanted them to, and learning how to use kind of the row and column Bootstrap stuff. I'm trying to think if I missed anything. But that's pretty much everything that was important for me to get it right. Obviously the text size. Yeah.